Welcome to the Songwriter Connection podcast. Our show originates in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA. We connect you to the songwriters and the stories behind your favorite songs. Join us as we take a look at the craft of songwriting through the eyes of the songwriter. Now, here's your host, Dave Linehan.
Hello. Thanks for joining me once again on the Songwriter Connection podcast. This is our 11th episode in season 1. And just to give you a little background information, we pre-record these shows on what we used to call in TV live tape, but there's no such thing as tape anymore. So what it means basically is I press record and we take no breaks. Whatever happens, happens. No editing. And I just think it's a lot more fun that way. It certainly is a lot less work. And you might say, it's the lazy way out, but I like to think it's more exciting and keeping it more real, and that's what we want to be, is real on this show. And to be real with you, we're taping this one, or recording it, let's say, on March the 18th. So spring hasn't quite sprung yet, but it's kind of in the air. We're getting to feel a spring here in Nashville, and shots are starting to go into people's arms. I'm getting my first vaccine tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting back to live music very soon in this town. We have missed it, and it's such a big part of Nashville. And can you imagine, it's been hard for everybody, but can you imagine for people that make their living as a musician here in Nashville, up and down Broadway, wherever they're playing, they're not getting work today. And you take a look at artists, they're recording albums and they're releasing, but they can't get out there and tour. It's been very, very hard. So hopefully we're heading in the right direction. We're rounding the corner. I want to believe that we are. On past podcasts, maybe you've caught them, we've had a chance to do a couple of them at a COVID safe distance around my dining room table. Way on the other side, we'll put our guests. And I love when we can do the shows live. And I've really had that in mind, not just telling the stories of the song, but hearing them done live. But in COVID times, Zoom has become our friend. And we're going to Zoom again today. And the thing that's cool about Zoom that I really love when we do it this way is we get to hear the recorded music of our artists. And I think it's really important because as an artist, you've got to be good on stage, right? And live, but it's completely different performing in the studio and making a record. And our guest knows this. She's made a few records, and we're going to talk about it. She's a multi-award winning pop folk artist. Her positive energy is absolutely infectious. Her passion for music, it's incredible. Her stage presence, remarkable. She's unique, a breath of fresh air, and she's catching the attention of listeners worldwide. And I've known her since she was about, 12 years old, I think. And I've watched her grow to not only a songwriter, but an extremely talented artist. I mean, I love so many things about her, but one of the things that I admire most, I think, is her ability to not be locked in to any particular genre of music. See, a lot of people think, well, you live in Nashville, you got to be a country music star, right? Not necessarily. It's all about music and great songs here in Nashville. Country was a big industry here, but it's all about the music. And this young lady blazes her own trail. In fact, she's created her own genre. It's something she calls sunshine story pop. And you know what? I think it sums it up well. And I think you're going to agree once you meet her and get to hear some of her songs. Our guest is Olivia Frances. Hi, Olivia. It's good to see you.
Dave, it's so great to see you. Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm so happy to be here. I feel emotional just knowing you for such a long time, and this is so special.
I've really watched you grow over the years, and I'm so proud of you. You're something else. You started out in the Cincinnati area. You were in our NSAI chapter up there, and that's when I got to know you, and your mom would come to the meetings, and you'd write songs and play them, and I'm just great. And I could just tell that you had a passion and a desire to do this, and that it was going to serve you well. And it has, hasn't it? Yeah.
Wow. Oh gosh. Yes. I'm so grateful, and so grateful for the Cincinnati NSAI chapter. I have to give them a shout out. I vividly remember when I first started writing, and my very first song was called The Spark. I was 12 years old when I sat on my bed and wrote it about my 7th grade crush. Oh. And I went to an Italian restaurant in Loveland, Ohio, with my family, and there happened to be an open mic night that evening.
I think that was Mama Vita's, right? Was that Mama Vita's?
Was it Mama Vita's?
I want to say it was. We used to do that there.
Was.
Yeah.
Did you go to those open mics?
Oh, I think I ran a few of them, so it was fun.
Oh, maybe you were there that fateful night, and like after I sang The Spark, it was a cappella, like no instruments. It was just a random night. Like we just went to have dinner, and then there happened to be an open mic, and I was, I guess, brave enough, my 12-year-old self, to just go up and sing a cappella.
That is brave.
And then these three guys in cowboy hats and cowboy boots walked up to me and said, "We'd love to have you join the NSAI." And my mom and I remember we were freaking out. We're like, "What does this mean?"
What is NSAI? Now, we've talked a lot about in past shows about NSAI, Nashville Songwriters Association International. If you have an interest in songwriting, we recommend you start there because it's a great group, isn't it? Is it not?
It is such a great group. I mean, my roots, I learned so much through that organization.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've got to tell you, just before the COVID crisis hit and everything shut down, I got to see you perform at the local in a showcase. And it was a remarkable night. You played your electric guitar, you played your acoustic guitar, you played a little ukulele, and you had a full band. And it was an amazing night. And I knew you were having fun, but I felt that, I hadn't seen you in a while, and just to see how you grew as an artist, I was just amazed and so proud. It was a great night.
Thank you for coming. That was such a fun show, and I too am so looking forward to performing live once again. It's been it's just a difficult time. It feels like a little piece of me is like missing, and I'm sure so many other artists feel that way.
I'm sure they do. We'll get into that and we'll talk more about that. But I want to play a song. I like to get a song in here right away, and this is a song called "Moon to My Sun." That I understand this was an award-winning song, right?
Yes.
Tell me about that. What was the award?
Of course. Actually, this song has won multiple awards.
Multiple awards.
Humble to say.
Wow.
Yes, it has won Best Love Song at the 2018 Independent Music Awards, which is a worldwide songwriting competition. Mm-hmm. It also won Best Song in the Singer-Songwriter category of the New England Music Awards.
Wow.
Which was, actually the New England Songwriting Competition, actually. Wow. It's so funny. It all feels like so long ago after COVID. And then the other award that Moon to My Sun won was Best Pop Song in the Ohio Music Awards.
Wow.
In 2018, I think.
Oh, great honors. That's fantastic. Moon to My Sun. Let's take a listen to the recorded version. These recordings are just so amazing. I think you're going to love it. There it is. The Songwriter Connection is our podcast, and my guest is Olivia Frances, here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, darling, I think I love you. I'm not sure what you're made of, but I must be made of it too. Ooh, I've only known you for a little while, but all the signs are aligning. So let's keep sticking together, could turn into forever. Time will pass anyway. You're the moon to my sun, the cool, fresh air to myself.
Isn't it a pretty song?
To myself.
I find myself singing that around the house, believe it or not. I love it.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah.
That makes my heart happy.
You're always heart happy, aren't you? You are. You're just a naturally happy person. I've always known that about you. Yeah. That's a great song. And in your style that you call Sunshine Story Pop. Explain what that, give me an idea.
Of course. So, you know, I have always been taught how important it is to market your music, you know, as an artist, songwriter, whatnot. And there was one day I was just thinking, okay, what is my music if I could capture it in a few words? And I think I did sort of a word board and just really thought deeply about my sound, and Sunshine Story Pop was definitely like, those were the words that sort of stuck with me.
I love it.
And I think I'm really excited. I'm in the process of recording new music, which I think is sort of a second iteration of Sunshine Story Pop, or perhaps I'll come up with a slightly different name, but something still in that.
Because you evolve as an artist, right?
Yeah,
you do.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
It's very important.
Well, one of the things you do very well is market yourself, and I want to talk about that a little bit later on. But I know there's got to be a story about Moon to My Sun. Tell me about the writing of that song.
Absolutely. So I remember writing that song my sophomore year of college at Clark University in Worcester, Massachusetts. I had such a great time in college. I majored in environmental studies with a minor in music. And with my minor, I took guitar lessons and took great lessons from a wonderful teacher named Joe DeAngelo. I miss him a lot. He's up in Massachusetts. Next time I go up there, I'll definitely have to visit him. And we were learning arpeggios on the guitar. And I just was sitting on the floor of my dorm, and I was just playing around with some chords, and I played like the A chord and just started playing that guitar part and really was mesmerized by it. And I grabbed a notebook and started writing, and I wrote the first verse and the chorus pretty quickly. And then exam time came around, and I put the song away, and I kind of forgot about it for a little bit, but I knew I wanted to come back to it. And then that summer I had an opportunity to intern at a nonprofit called the Reverb up in Portland, Maine. And their whole mission is to make the music business more sustainable, which is super, super awesome. And while I was in Maine, I brought those lyrics back out, and I was like, I should finish this. I wonder where this could go, and I ended up finishing it and going to Nashville in the fall and recording it with Pat Lassiter, who's such an amazing producer. I feel so lucky to work with him. He works out of his studio called Riverfront Recording Studios here in Nashville. And I'm still working with him, on my new songs as well. He has the ears, and I'm just so lucky to be able to work with him.
He definitely does. The sound quality is just amazing on your records. He does a superb job. So yeah, absolutely. You're in the right place. So you started in music, I understand you learned piano when you're 6 years old?
Yes, that's right.
And you started writing songs by age 12?
Well, I picked up guitar and started writing around the same time.
Did you? What I love is you don't stop learning. You still take, you went to college and you took guitar lessons. You just, and I know here in Nashville, and you talked about having a gap year between high school and college, which I think was, you did it so smart. You took a gap year and you moved to Nashville and just spread your wings a little bit. Tell us about that experience. And you took guitar lessons then too from one of the greats here in town. Yeah.
Dave Isaac. Shout out to Dave.
Dave.
Fabulous. Yes. So basically I went to Ursuline Academy in Cincinnati, Ohio. And before graduating, it was really my senior year. I felt like I wanted to just take a year off, and my parents thankfully supported me in that endeavor. And so I had gotten into Clark, and I just deferred for the year and moved down to Nashville. I worked at Barnes & Noble Vanderbilt, and I interned at Infinity Cat Recordings, and I played so many rounds at the Commodore Grill and the Millennium Maxwell House. Some of those rounds were with you, Dave.
Oh yeah, we had some fun. Yeah.
Thank you for the invites.
It seems like you were playing almost every night, and I know you were writing every day.
So fun. Yeah, that gap year, I look back and I really call it a dream year. It was so marvelous. And
you worked hard.
I knew I still wanted to go to college afterwards.
That's good.
So that once the gap year ended, I moved up to to Massachusetts and was able to tour a lot up there and get a great education. I met so many amazing friends at Clark, and now I love going back up to New England when I can to perform at great venues and stuff up there.
And, as you went to college, after that gap year, you kept your music alive. You really did. With superb marketing. And I want to talk about independent artists and things, and how you do what you do. But I need to play another song. We've got one called Do You Know? You want to tell us about that one a little bit?
Sure. So I wrote Do You Know with my good friend, Mike Astrakin. Him and I have been writing for about 6 years. We met at the NSAI Song Camp back in 2014.
You know what?
Wild.
I get a lot of artists on this show that tell me the same thing. They went to the NSAI Song Camp and became friends with co-writers and still write with them to this very day. And that's what I love about NSAI and the Song Camp. Isn't that cool? You make lifelong friends in memories. So yes. you wrote this with him. Okay.
I wrote it with him. And I remember we wrote this song so quickly. I think I had just played at the Commodore, and I drove away and I had to pull over and I wrote down like the chorus of the song, or it's like, do you know just how lovely you are? Do you know just how beautiful you are? And I brought that to him, that idea, and we sort of put a melody behind it, and it all just sort of flowed out with all the da-da-das and do-do-dos in the song. And it's a very uplifting song. I always say when I perform it, I usually perform it last, and I say, like, this is a love song to the audience.
That's so cool. And I have to flash back because recently we had Eddie Heinzelman on the show, and I did the same thing to him. I took his last song and played it in the middle of the podcast. So I've been known to do things like that. So
that's okay. It's nice to go out of order.
Well, I'm going out of order here. So play your last song second. Here's Do You Know from Olivia Frances on the Songwriter Connection podcast.
Do you know just how lovely you are? Do you know just how beautiful you are? 'Cause I've been looking for someone like you, and you just happen to walk on through. So do you know just how lovely you are? 'Cause I think you should know about it. Do you know just how special you are? Do you know just how brilliant you are? 'Cause I love spending my days with you, and you keep making my dreams come true. So do you know just how special you are? 'Cause I think you should know about it. Do you know? Just how lucky I am. Do you know just how grateful I am? 'Cause you pick me up when I'm feeling down. I'll never forget the day you came around. So do you know just how lucky I am? 'Cause I think you should know about it. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know?
That's a signature Olivia Frances song. You know how lucky we are to have you on the Songwriter podcast today. That's so great.
Oh my gosh, thank you. It was so fun on Zoom. They're like dancing.
Yeah, you got to do that on stage when you sing this too.
Totally. I love to whip out the moves.
It's such a happy feel. It really is. It really, really is. Good to have you on the show, Olivia. And one of the things, you are so good at marketing yourself. And let's talk a little bit about the struggles of being an independent artist today. It is, it's a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I think that, between like just finding the time to market, like making the time to make content, that's its own hardship. And then also, budget, if you want to promote posts, that takes a budget.
It does.
Having a whole brand and ensuring that everything is consistent across platforms. I feel like I try to do my best. Some days are better than others. Sometimes I miss a day to post or whatnot. But I think it's all a learning experience. And I currently have a day job that's marketing related. And so I've learned a lot through that. And that's been such a blessing. And yeah, it's great. My boss is super supportive of my music as well, which is very helpful. And yeah, there's just always so many new platforms. Of course, now it's all on TikTok.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, you gotta post to TikTok. And so
are you doing TikTok these days?
To just keep up with all that. Yes, I am on TikTok. You can find me. Olivia Frances Music is my handle.
You have to check it out.
Check me out.
I'm an older guy. I've not really got into TikTok yet, but I need to check it out. I'm learning how to do Instagram these days and cross promote from my Facebook page, So, but you're right. It's a challenge.
Itself,
yeah. Yeah.
And social media marketing, that's a role that's people's whole job.
And you have to do that to survive today. As an artist. And you do that very, very well. You really do. You do the live streams on Facebook. I've seen a few of those. And you've got one coming up, right?
That's right. I have one. Well, by the time the episode airs, actually. Well, yeah, I will be doing live streams, yes, every Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
Every Wednesday.
When this airs, I shall still be doing live streams.
Good.
They're going to be for 30 minutes. Wednesday evenings, and I'm going to have a friend come on and probably play 3 songs. They'll play 3 songs. It'll be like a mini round type format. Nice. It's going to be really fun.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah. That's great. So like a writer's round from your living room.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. Where do we find your music online? I know you're everywhere, but Olivia Frances, and it's spelled Frances, right?
Yes. Thank you for that. Yes. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, Amazon, I think all the places. And Instagram, Facebook, Olivia Frances. I try to be everywhere, but as I said, it's kind of hard to keep up with all the platforms these days. Now I'm on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa. If you Google her, you're going to find her everywhere because she's out there.
Hope so.
You're going to find her. Absolutely. Olivia, let's play another song. We've got one called Once in a Blue Moon here coming up. What's the story behind that one?
Yeah, so this story is interesting. I wrote this song with my friend, Mike Asterkin.
Yeah.
Once again, shout out to Mike. And I had the title in my hook book, which, for those who don't know, a hook book is basically a place where you keep song ideas or hook ideas. I store my hook book just in my notes section on my phone.
That's good.
Yeah.
And do you back it up? Because silly me, I got a new phone 2 weeks ago, and I had all my hook book in my they didn't transfer over. So I'm like trying to remember all these, and tragedy.
No. So it didn't save.
Nah.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry
but that's
that. Well,
that's so
new
neat.
Ideas will come flowing.
Yeah.
Pouring.
That's what I thought.
Sure.
I needed new ideas anyway. But anyway, so you got this hook book, right? And we're talking about this process, all these things that you day to day, that'll make a song, that can make a song, and you write it down, right? And you say,
or else you'll forget. It'll go in one ear and out the other, at least for me. So I had it on my hook book, and I had this experience where this was a few years back, I'd gotten into like a minor car accident. I went to the hospital just to make sure everything was okay. But like while at the hospital, I saw this interaction between this man and this woman that just like did not sit well with me, and it felt like there was some sort of abuse there, whether it be like emotional, physical abuse. And we didn't want the song to get like that dark per se, but we wanted to just highlight that there are so many relationships that just like aren't great, but people just stay in them because for all the reasons, right? They don't want to be lonely. They're afraid of leaving the person. They're afraid they won't find someone better, et cetera, et cetera. So, it's really about once in a blue moon, he buys her flowers. He takes her by the hand and looks her in the eyes. Like he doesn't care for her, all the time. And it's really been interesting as a performer to play the song and like have people tell me like, oh, I really relate to that song, or, share a story after a show that was sparked by hearing that song. And it actually has become my most listened to song on Spotify as well. So very grateful for this tune. And it was once again produced by Pat Lassiter. And I'm excited for you to share it.
I'm going to share it right now. You've got a lot of streams on your songs. I mean, worldwide, right? 300,000 over, something crazy like that, huh?
I'm so grateful.
Here's Once in a Blue Moon from Olivia Frances.
She said yes 7 years ago. Back then he treated her like gold. Now he's good as gone, but she's still hanging on for the moment she treasures most. 'Cause once in a blue moon, he buys her flowers, takes her by the hand, and looks into her eyes. Once in a blue moon, he holds her tight, whispers in her ear,
Olivia Frances on the Songwriter Connection podcast. Sunshine Story Pop. And even your sad songs have some sunshine in them, which I love. That's a good song. Thank you. We talked a little bit about being an independent artist and getting out there, but not only on the socials. Before COVID hit, you're a very busy performer, creating tours and touring the country. You've seen some pretty neat places. You've been out there.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I've been mainly on, of course, in the Midwest, of course, home state, Ohio. Love to go back there. In Tennessee and up in New England and down in Florida where my mom lives. I would love to go out to the West Coast sometime, hopefully in the next year or so. That would be really, really cool. But I love to travel, love performing, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. That's
cool. I know you will once we get back to normal, whatever that is after COVID. Let's talk about songwriting. Let's get into that a little bit, your songwriting style and how you go about it. I know we've written a couple of songs over the years, and it's always fun.
Right. Fun.
Tell us the process for you. Where does I imagine different songs, it starts different ways. Can you put your finger on anything that?
Yeah, I would say I feel like a very Nashville way to songwrite is to start with the title. And that's definitely something I do quite often. I'll have a title idea. I wrote a song a few weeks ago with a friend of mine named Ed O'Donnell. Shout out to Ed. Yeah. And I had this idea called Use a Prayer. Like I could use a prayer, I could use some love. And we wrote that song just based on that title alone. I feel like that's my primary way of writing. I also, of course, sometimes bring like little melody ideas or little lyrical ideas. I will say I feel like I'm more of a lyrical driven writer where I'll have the lyrics first, maybe even with a melody, and that'll kind of come together. And then I'll share like a little piece of that and then sort of see if my co-writer wants to write that. I'll usually share like 3 or 4 ideas and sort of see what we are both feeling, or if there's multiple people, like what we're all feeling, what we want to write. If we want to write a happy song, sad song, etc., we'll just sort of feel it out.
And it's all about co-writing here in Nashville. We've talked about that in the past.
Yes. Yeah, I co-write all the time. And in fact, it's funny. I feel like I haven't written by myself in so long, like maybe like 10 months or something, which maybe is bad. I don't know. I think that with co-writing, it's so promoted here to do it, and it is so fun. I enjoy it so much.
I do too.
And of course it's also great because it's like, okay, like tomorrow morning, like I'm writing a song because I have this appointment with this person, and it definitely holds me accountable. But I think it would be nice to sort of just write by myself. I have some ideas I've been saving for myself. So.
It's a private Olivia time.
Exactly. Yes. Just journal time. Sit on the back porch and just like let it all out time. Yeah.
So you keep a journal and you write every day?
I do. Well, right when the pandemic started, I was writing every day for probably the first 3 months. And then I stopped writing a bit. I kind of, now it's sort of on and off. I really like rituals, and I've decided that if I have like extra time in the morning when I'm getting ready for work or whatnot, that I value meditating over journaling. Like I meditate every day.
Really?
That keeps me grounded. Meditation is such a gift, and I can tell such a difference on the days I do meditate and don't meditate. Even when it comes to staying focused, and even when it comes to writing, I feel like as I said, like I try to do it every day. Of course, it doesn't always happen every day, but the days in which I meditate, I feel like my creative flow like is just smoother, and I can stay more focused. And I think there's just so much going on in the world right now that it's so important to have space and time to just breathe and just exist.
It's got to help with your creativity too, because it opens up the mind, right?
Oh, it totally does. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that, because it's like your thoughts are just more clear, at least for me. And sometimes even after I meditate, I'll have an idea that kind of comes to me that I hadn't thought of before. It's really such a great thing. My friend Emmy in college, she introduced meditation to me, and I've done it ever since. I use this app called Insight Timer. So I prefer guided meditations, but I also like silent meditations too.
Guided, so they guide you through the process. They relax you, slow you down.
Slow me down. Yeah, exactly. Breathe. I definitely am the type of person who can just like go, 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 go throughout the day.
You have such energy. You really do.
Oh my gosh. And so it's very helpful for me to just have time to reflect and just exist.
That's great. Well, I just want to thank you again for taking time. I know you're busy and you keep busy, and but you're working this thing and you're doing it well. I'm so proud of you. Yeah. I really am.
Gosh, you are such a special person to me, and I'm so lucky to just like know you and be in your orbit. Thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, stop. Come on, stop. No. Okay, stop.
True. You're
Thank you. I so appreciate that. The Bee and the Rose. That is a song that is so special. And I just got to know more about it. It's really got some notoriety for you, hasn't it?
It has. Thank you. Yes. So I wrote this song also with Mike Astrakin, who, of course, he was a big collaborator on my last record. And so grateful for our partnership. So I majored in environmental studies, which I mentioned, and like I'm very influenced by the beauty of the world around us and just nature. I love taking walks, going camping, hiking, all that. And I really wanted to write a song for the bees. I told Mike, I said, if you have any ideas about, a song with bees, like let me know. And the funny part is he had the idea, The Bee and the Rose, which at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to write that, because at that time I had recently written a song, which I haven't released, but it's called The Cactus and the Rose. Okay. So I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But then after a few sessions, he kept bringing it up. He's like, well, I had that idea, The Bee and the Rose. And I'm like, you know what, let's write that. And I'm so glad we did, because it really like blossomed into its own being. And I released for this, August of 2020, I released a music visualizer for that song on National Honeybee Day. And I've really enjoyed aligning myself with other bee organizations and nonprofits and like spreading knowledge about the bee crisis that's currently happening. And bees are dying at an alarming rate. And it's really a problem because we need them. They pollinate our foods, our fruits, our vegetables, everything. Mm-hmm. And so this is a very much a cause song. And in last year around this time, it was nominated for Best Story Song at the 2020 Independent Music Awards.
Nice.
Which is really cool. Yeah. And so this song is one that I always enjoy playing.
Very cool. It's called The Bee and the Rose. It's Olivia Frances on this Songwriter Connection.
Once upon a time, in a garden tucked away, where goldfish swim and willows sway, a spell was made. It was Mother Nature's magic, a fairy tale that's cinematic, happy ending like a classic legend. A perfect harmony, a pair as sweet as honey. Just one kiss is all she needs. It's a destiny for the world to see how love grows between the bee and the rose. Every day he'd fly around to every plant and tree he found. She'd wait for him till he'd come down to rest his wings. Their petals up like satin showered him with joy and passion. Knew this love was everlasting. Yes, she knew. All she needs. It's a destiny for the world to see how love grows between the bee and the rose. Before frost fills the air and snows on the ground, they say their goodbyes till spring comes around. It's a perfect harmony. Just one kiss is all she needs for her heart to know it's not make-believe. It's a destiny for the world to see how love grows between the bee and the rose. How love grows between the bee and the rose. How love grows between the bee and the rose.
Remarkable. That's Olivia Frances. What's the name of that CD?
It's called Orchid.
Orchid. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. How many CDs out there do you have right now that are available?
I have 3 CDs. I have Back to Happiness, Evergreen, and Orchid.
And Orchid. And they're all out there? Get them on your website?
They're all out there. You can buy physical CDs on my website. They're on Spotify, Apple Music, etc.
Good.
And yeah.
That's cool. Everywhere. Good. It's all great stuff. I encourage you to check them out. Absolutely. Whether you download or purchase a CD form, please do it and add that to your collection. You will love Olivia Frances. You know, Olivia, I think from being in radio and just watching things and looking at the history of music, which I'm really big into history, especially on my radio shows that we do. We do history every week when we do Nashville Connection on radio, and I live for it. But what I seem to find and have figured out over the years, that I think the truly great artists are the ones that defy the genre. And I always hate when people say, "Oh, you're a songwriter, you're a musician. What kind of music do you play?" And I always pause and I go, "Well, good music." All kinds of music,
right?
You know, hopefully it's good music, you know, and you just seem to have defined your own thing. And like I said in the intro, I admire that about you, and keep doing that, because the truly great ones do that. Before there was a Johnny Cash, right? There wasn't one, right? And he created his own thing. Before Taylor Swift, you know, she created her own, and I know that you used to love. You're a big Taylor. You were a big Taylor.
I am a big fan.
Back in the day.
Yes,
yeah.
You're right. Before her. Yeah. I mean, she started her own thing.
She defined, you know, what she is. And you're doing the same thing. So I congratulate you. And I'm going to keep following you.
Oh,
yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Your support means so much. And you are such an articulate speaker and ask such great questions. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good having you on the show. And I hope that you will all join us on the next Songwriter Connection podcast. Thank you, Olivia Frances.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Songwriter Connection. Also, listen to Dave Linehan's Nashville Connection radio show. It streams live every Friday morning on WOBL and WNOI. Look for us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next time on Songwriter Connection.
And that's